Hey everyone, it's Mari. Welcome back to my channel. I have another project for you today for the Vicki Boutin design team. I'm going to be creating a 12 by 12 scrapbooking project. And of course, I'm going to be using the amazing color study. And I really wanted to use this color wheel paper. I hadn't used it yet, and I'm just so excited to try something out with it and see what I can create. And I also wanted to use a piece of foundations paper for my background for my process. I also want to use the gel crayons today, which I have been having so much fun with, and they are super fun to work with. And here you can also see I have trimmed out a piece of the color wheel paper into these pie shapes, and I have chosen to trim them out in the 7 rows. So I'm using the 7 smallest rows of that pie chart. And yeah, so I'm going to have fun with these. So my idea was to create, of course, this little color wheel with these pieces and do a little bit of mixed media in behind. And so what I wanted to do to start out was just to place this onto my foundations paper and just mark with a pencil exactly where I want my mixed media to go with this color wheel in mind. So here you can just see I'm getting it placed where I want it. I'm also going to show you the photograph that I'm going to be working with today and the amazing radiant background from Just Nick. This is a cut file from the Just Nick studio. And there's my photo. I also fussy cut a bunch of the florals from that journal patterned paper. I wasn't really sure at this point where I wanted to put them on my project, but I knew that I might want to use these on my project, so I trimmed those out and had those ready to go. Just taking my pencil now, making a mark for where I want my mixed media. So this is one of the blue gel crayons, and I am going to be using both of the blue gel crayons in this project eventually. I like to just scribble out the crayon on my Nouveau craft mat here and then just get some water mixed in with it, just using my finger to mix it up. And now I've just spritz some water with my Distress spritzer on my foundations paper in a circular shape in the area that I have marked out with that pencil. And I'm just going to drop in some of that paint or some of the crayon, I should say, with my brush. So there you can see that's all finished. And I'm just going to add a little bit of it going out to the right side of my layout as well, because I'm going to extend out my embellishments into that area. And I'm just going to take my heat tool and dry that and get it all dried so I can add more layers on top of this as well. Now, I do really love also the stamps in the Color Study collection. There's 2 stamp sets and they're absolutely fabulous. They're so fun. And there's a couple ways you can use it. Gel crayons are more than I'm going to show you. I realize that, but I'm going to use them in a couple of ways. So you can scribble the crayon directly onto the stamp, and you can also dip the stamp into the pigment that's been watered down. You can also stamp with that stamp with the gel crayon added to it directly from the crayon without water. And in that way, you'll get a really crisp image. So what I'm doing right here is I'm adding an image that's going to be really like a watercolor impression, which I really love. But I'm also going to add some images here that are the crayon directly to the stamp without water. Here you can just see I'm going to add on a little bit of the yellow gel crayon as well. Just adding some drips and some splatters and getting a nice, just sort of like a nice range of color in that mixed media area there. Just going to tap on some more of the yellow. And the blue right now is all dry, so nothing is kind of interacting. And now I'm going to dry that yellow layer. And here you can see I've done some more stamping, and I'm going to pick up, I have a different stamp now, a smaller stamp on my block, and I'm going to just go ahead and add some more marks. So I'm going to add a variety of different marks using the different stamps onto this little circular area of mixed media. So just having fun. I'm just playing with the products, and I absolutely love this process using Vicki's mixed media. Products are so much fun to use, and this is definitely something that I really enjoy, and I just love the foundations paper so much for mixed media. Now this is where I'm actually stamping dry, so I've just put the crayon dry onto that stamp and stamped it, and you can see how it's much more crisp and obviously doesn't have that watercolor look. Here I am going to take each one of my pie-shaped color portions for my color wheel, and I'm going to distress the edges just a little bit, not too much. I don't want them to be too roughed up, but just a little bit, just to add a little bit of texture to the edges of each one of these sections. And when I adhere them down to my page, I adhere one with foam adhesive and the next one beside it just with tape runner, so that every second pie shape is dimensional. Here's some patterned paper from the 8x6 paper pad, which is an absolute must. And one of the things that I absolutely always love so much about Vicki's 8x6 paper pads is that they're double-sided, so you get a pattern on both sides. So if you want to curl up the edge, or, you know, take a corner of your paper here for the photo mat and press it so that the back side shows, you're going to get some color and pattern from the back showing as well. I love that. I love the double-sided paper so much. And here you can just see I'm going to use a little bit of yellow in my photo mat area as well. So I've got a little bit of green and I have a little bit of yellow, and I'm also going to put a little bit of pink pattern paper. But here I'm realizing that I'm kind of losing the pop of my photo. So I just want to add a little bit. This is just some scrap from card making, scrap black cardstock from my stash. And I'm just going to just leave a tiny little black margin around my photo so that my photo really pops off the photo mat area. Just, you know, I really want it to really be the focal point in the center, almost like the center of that bullseye of that beautiful color wheel. So here you can just see I'm going to get all of these layers of my photo mat area down so that I'm going to adhere the photo to the black just flat with my tape runner, and then the other layers will be applied to my project with some foam adhesive. So I'm just going to finish up my photo mat area there. And now I am going to stick down all of my color wheel pieces. So I haven't done that yet, but here I'm just showing you. I am going to put foam on this piece here, just some thin 3L foam squares. And this next one then will go down flat with some tape runner, and then I'll use that same process for that whole section. Now here you can just see I've added that gorgeous cut file from Just Nick over top of the color wheel. It just adds a little bit more detail to the color wheel area. It just works beautifully, so nicely with that paper. And here I've been wanting to use this die cut Polaroid camera. I love this so much. It's one of my favorite die cut pieces from the die cut packs. And I love that it's green and it's got that little bit of rainbow on it, which, I mean, the old Polaroid, I feel like that was part maybe of the packaging or something from back in the day. Anyway, it was just so, I love that piece. It reminds me of the 70s or something. It's really cool. So now you can just see, I also wanted to use that die cut piece that says, here's the whole story, because that's actually going to be where the journaling is going to go. And I'm going to add these little floral pieces over, kind of just sprinkled around in the area there. And I will add those with foam adhesive as well to give them some more dimension. I'm going to just rough this piece up a little bit, distress the edges as I did the camera with my paper distressing tool from Tonic. And there you can just see, I'm just holding it up to make sure that I have that on there straight, and I did not have it straight. So I'm just going to try to straighten that out. And my back has really been bothering me. So today I am scrapbooking sitting down, which is not normal for me. I usually stand, but maybe that's why my back bothers me. Anyways, yeah, so when I'm sitting, I need to hold things up to make sure that I have them straight. Taking a little sip of my coffee to keep that energy going. And here you can just see I wanted to add those florals over to the left side as well. So really loving the composition so far of this project. I think the design is really nice, keeping things nice and tight together to all of those elements kind of in the center area. And I'm just showing you, I want to add a little bit of detail to the edges. So I'm just going to take my scissors. I'm going to cut away just a tiny little bit of the white cardstock on the edge there in the top left, and just making kind of like a little curve there. I will take my distressing tool and distress that so that it doesn't have any angular areas, just to make it nice and smooth. And there you can just see I'm going to add a little bit of the 8x6 paper there. This is just a scrap that I had left over from another project. And, you know, never throw out those scraps ever, ever, ever. Because I just find that I'm always needing a little scrap of paper for here or there. And that's where these little bits are perfect. So I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive and stick that to the back. And I'm going to do that exact same thing to the lower right side of the project as well, just to get that diagonal, a little bit of a diagonal line, so that it just takes your eye from that top right down through the photo to the bottom, sorry, the top left to the bottom right, using, of course, that eye line to take you from left to right, top to bottom. And just going to get that stuck down there. And then I am going to show you here how I did some sewing on my project as well. I sewed with my sewing machine just to create a little bit of texture and interest in those areas. I am not going to trim off those that thread. I'm going to just leave it on there just because I think that looks neat. And I love Vicki's sticker books. They're so awesome. And I love all these little phrase stickers, and I just wanted to add this little rainbow phrase sticker to the side of my photo. And I'm also going to add a couple of little circles from the sticker book as well. I'll add one over to the floral area on the left, and then that pink one I will add over to the right. And I am going to pop those up on a little bit of foam adhesive as well. I don't want them flat to the layout completely. I will just add a tiny little bit of foam adhesive to those so that they're popped up. So I just want to use my tweezers here to give me an idea of where I want that to go. And once I'm happy there, I will get that adhered. And I just wanted also to add some of the chipboard stars from the chipboard. Vicki's chipboard is always like the most amazing because she uses, well, all of her icons and everything are so fun, but she also uses absolutely every tiny little space on those sheets of chipboard. You get so much for that on those pieces for sure. So here you can just see I added a little bit of sewing to that die cut piece where it says here's the story, and I'm going to add that little puffy heart to the center of the camera. And at this point I'm just checking it out, and I've added the title Good Fun with the thickers from Color Study. So Good Fun, and I'm loving that. And now I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking, oh yes, I wanted to show you the alphas because they're amazing. I love them so much. And now I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking I need some more splatters, like in some different colors. So I'm going to get this pink pigment all watered down, and I will add some splatters in pink. So again, just putting that gel crayon onto my Nuvo mat. I'm going to water that down with my water and just get it mixed up with my finger, splatter that on and get it all splattered around. And I really like it a lot once I've got more of those splatters added in. I just felt like it just needed a little something else. And I will make sure to add those splatters to those little cutaway areas in the top left and bottom right as well, so that it doesn't look quite so plain in those areas. I could have added another little bit of embellishing to those sections, but I just kind of liked them the way that they were. And then with the major detail in the sort of through that horizontal center section of the project. I wanted to just cover up my photo. I didn't really want to get a bunch of splatters on my photo. I'm going to finish up with the pink, and then I'm also going to add some orange gel crayon splatters to my project and just get more vibrant colors in there. I love adding some nice big splatters. So I'm just going to squeeze my brush here as well and get some of that. And I do like how that orange and blue look together. So I was happy with this orange and how vibrant it is on the project. And I am going to dry that with my heat tool. And now I'm going to add some white splatters to the entire layout. I've been doing this to my cards. I've been doing this to my scrapbook projects lately. Basically everything's getting white splatters on it, and I love it. So this is just going to, bring everything together. And I used to do this all the time on my art journal pages. And lately I've just been doing this again on everything. I just like how it looks. And I think the reason why I've come back to this so much is because of this Dina Wakley gloss spray. I love this stuff, and it dries so dimensional. which is so fun. I just love the texture that it adds to a project. So I had so much fun creating this project for you. And I did blog this as well. So you can head over to Vicki's blog if you want to see that post. Vicki also has a very amazing community on Facebook. If you have not joined that community, make sure you do so. I will leave a link to it in the description box below. It is so fun. She has a live video every Friday night over on Facebook. I'm just showing you where I'm going to add the journaling. So she has Friday Night Live every Friday night, and so much fun and so much inspiration. And here are some still shots, and I am absolutely finished. So have an amazing day, everybody. Thank you so much for sticking with me till the very end. I will see you next week with another project for the Vicki Boutin design team using the amazing color study, which I have linked to in the description box below.